Hi everyone, welcome to Sprouts LinkedIn Live. I'm Avi, I'm the co-founder here at Sprouts.ai. We are building an go-to-market intelligence platform with use of a lot of data, unique data and AI to help demand generation teams to build more and more intelligent pipeline for them. And today we have a very interesting, and we are going to talk about or discuss about a very interesting topic, which is like RevOps framework, retention, expansion, and success in SaaS businesses, right? And to do so, we have a very special guest with us, Emma, who is a customer success and RevOps leader with 13 years of experience in SaaS and tech. She has built CS teams in the past, ground up, and drove like 35 million plus in revenue and more than 120% in net retention. She has been a founder herself. Emma has helped scale high performing teams and implement strategies that deliver real impact. Currently, she is leading customer success strategy at Noibu. She specializes in retention, expansion, onboarding, and operational expense excellence. Emma, welcome on board. Super excited to have you.
Thank you for the invite, and nice to meet you, Abby.
Likewise, Emma, right? Like even before starting, let's rewind a bit. What drew you into RevOps and CS strategy space? Can you talk more about your journey? And was there, what was there this it movement for you, right? Like, can you talk more about your past to present journey? How did you end up here? And more about how your journey has been so far.
Well, absolutely. If you have, I noticed that everybody enters SaaS all differently. And I tell people that actually I started as a cancer researcher. I came to
Oh,
Canada to do a
okay.
PhD in pathology that end up in SaaS. What
Mm-hmm.
um what I was doing in the past is more about working on predicting patient outcomes using biomarkers. So it's really about personalization, medication, drug drug discovery, and so on. It should be straightforward. If you think about if I have a mutation on certain disease, if I
Mm-hmm.
design a drug that target a mutation, and we should say, okay, problem solved, cancer cured.
Okay.
But as you know, if we knew that, won't be 50 years of cancer right now. Things are not always planned as come out as planned it. So there is, we call it like the treatment schedule, the toxicity, the complex of like they do, it says gene mutation, so the complex of all the mechanism around it. So if you only do one target therapy is not enough. So the biggest lesson I learned is everything is complex. I always expect a complexity. And second is you want to set up a hypothesis and you set up experiments to prove that insights. So, and always learning,
Mm-hmm.
always ready to pivot and change, even though you prove that hypothesis right. So things are happening really fast, and you always have that open mind to address anything. But that was kind of where my science research came into SaaS, and this continues on. Is my theme of how do I do personalization at scale?
Mm-hmm.
And when you come into business, yeah, it's just really different. The same mythology, yeah.
Got it. Got it. That's pretty unique, Emma, right? Like being from the research side, that's also onto healthcare to doing a complex and solving a complex SaaS problems. You also mentioned that you run a customer success community. Can you talk more about it? Curious to learn how did that idea start, and if you can spend some light on that.
Yeah, it's as if we look at customer success, this department, or it's really a younger a team
Mm-hmm.
comparing to sales or marketing. I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I crossed the border agency asked me, "So, what's your job title?" "Oh, CS." "What is CS?" "Customer support, computer
Mm-hmm.
science." And then
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell actually sales and marketing. So that's really disappointing. Oh yeah, let's just go. So it's just such a very young, if you really compare it to sales and marketing, is really young industry, and the definition of what we do after post sale
Mm-hmm.
is always evolving. So before, if you ask somebody probably 10 years ago, even the stereotype is customer service, white glove service, all that things. But now what really about customer success is how do we drive customer outcome and drive adoption into, I always believe customer success is equal to business success. If you help the customer achieve their outcome, your business will survive and grow. Yeah.
Got it.
Sorry, I didn't talk about the success, the community, and I just wanted to drive that. I think beginning at the show, before the show, we talked about what is really go to market is is all the team, is not just product marketing, sales. It's always the whole GTM team, the whole from the pre-sale to post-sale and all around. So my mission for CS and Focus is to how we keep the success of the customer in focus and how to drive that alignment across the GTM team, not just the traditional definition of post-sale. Yeah.
Got it. Emma, just a quick double click on that, right? Like you worked across different growth stages. What's your go-to framework or approach when it comes to driving retention and expansion? How do you typically structure it across teams and touch points, right? Can you talk more about more of like tactical stuff, but can you talk more about it?
Yeah. When we talk about the recent pivot to ops, people think it's just framework and playbooks, but it's not really just that. I think as a business, we know that you build that revenue engine, you really need that 3 Ps, the people, the process, and the product. You need your frontline, your team, and like hire for curiosity, train for impact. Processes, you have this operating system in place to think of a signal system to surface or know where the customer journey are and have everybody work together, have to achieve that right touch point, recognize, improve it, right touch point to help the customer move forward. And of course, it's all anything that we know is the product. If you don't have a product of people solving customer problems, you really don't have a business. So it's just it is. And when I see like the go-to framework is those 3 Ps, but also just want to bring a little bit of story about back to the time I had my first startup, Maxwell.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Please talk more about it. Yeah.
So the Maxwell actually is, how we could describe it, is like an online auction with a local pickup where eBay meets Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace, depending where you are. But it started as a downsizing estate sale company. It's really about a part of a downsizing journey when the realtor sells the house, the seniors moving to the home, and they're left with the stuff they need to sell in a really fast, high value and fast turnaround. So that's where Maxwell can come in to help. But we saw a shift, which becomes the signal part. The market is, the customers are telling us. We start seeing more of these people using Maxwell as the offload of inventory. The resellers from eBay are using us, and then the auctions house are using us. So to see this shift of using not just the targeting where we thought it was the downsizers, those seniors, but now we notice a shift that this solution, the service we brought, can benefit more. So that's where the signal comes in. Reselling inventory, and we notice the spike in support ticket, the repeat seller patterns. They keep coming back to host these sales once a month or twice a month, etc. And the response they get, they really found value in our platform. So that's our signal. So now we start looking to, is this a time to pivot our market drive? That's where we build, I say, the system. So comparing to what they need in customer journey, they don't need a whole service team to go in and catalog. So we pivot the business model to self-serve and focus on how we can support in that self-serve motion. We create a portal which is helping them to deal with their invoice, how to do their own cataloging. We redesigned the entire onboarding from the high touch, one-on-one, hands-on, helping customer, to a self-serve model. That's where onboarding comes in. Also, we changed the ops team and CS team based on that we have a dedicated self-serve team to help on operations and CS side. So that's our system. And then telling the stories back to how we double down on this. So the stories come in, we share through marketing, we change our product marketing message and start growing. And this pivot turns out to the best thing we know, as if you think of the time of COVID, when in-person interaction is no longer exist.
Very limited, correct. Yeah.
So we double down on self-serve, double down on partners. We just look at the signals, build a system, and continue that growing that GTM motion to see what's going on, right? So that I call the whole life cycle or go-to-market motion when you have a pivot change based on the market needs.
Got it. No, that's an interesting journey which you have called out. Emma, can you help me understand, right? Like how to, let's say, if you're building a post-sale RevOps motion from scratch, or customer success or customer strategy motion from scratch, where would you start, right? What are the areas where you would like someone to double down on, and what are, if you can talk about a few must-haves and some common pitfalls one should avoid, especially in the early stage of the journey.
The early stage from 0 to 1 million?
Yeah. 0 to 1 or 1 to 5, whichever.
Yeah. Yes. It's at the beginning is really about the problem market fit. When I talk about validating, this is what the customer willing to pay, but what kind of service they're willing to pay, and double down on that. I think at the beginning we were trying a lot of spaghetti method, and see this, that, and like calculate if this is really the cost, right, the gross margin, all that stuff. But at the beginning, it's only, no matter how fancy your product is, if there's no customer willing to pay for it, you're not really doing any service, right? You're just building a hobby, I would say, like a fancy SaaS tool. So it's really about validating where the market is and like what the customer needs are. So there is a story actually. I think at the beginning I just talked about Max, how we pivot into self-serve. I have that separate about listening to what the market needs when they need a more platform, right? And I also another pitfall is that I notice is that they want to hire a CSM, focus on renewals and retention as an early founder, but when we have a better, like deeper talk, they actually don't have their marketing hired. They only have, so it's a thing that what is the first hire really for your startup? I would say it's to drive the demand is product and marketing, and then you have your sales team, and then you have your CS team. Yeah,
correct, absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of the order I would say if you really have that core team started. But the CS team really depends on what the needs. When I started at Max Sold, it was really I started at support, because the CEO is focused on selling and trying to find out which one, and everybody is jumping into Zendesk tickets left, right, and center, different ways. So at the beginning is really to build out a support team to handle those repeatable tickets, and also build out the launch page where people can find questions to have that self-serve. And also people keep forgetting is really CRM is really important. I know you can start a spreadsheet, but if you don't know when the customer signed your contract, why they churned, interactions, all these things like a CRM, and then once you have that, you can have a clear signals or start segmenting based on their use case and the ARR, etc. Then more target marketing, etc., or better service or support, etc., and so on. That's kind of
Got
where
it.
I see it.
Understood.
It's, yeah,
Uh, got it.
it's
So, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead,
no,
Emma.
no. I did notice that at the beginning, the most hard part is moving from founder-led sales to really let go and move on to sales-led or PLG and so on. Because at the beginning is all everybody just overacting to what the customer need, and you have somebody say this, do that. So
Yeah.
the kind of things, right? Or lack of defined process, just that people doing this way, oh, this is an exception this way. And then all you hear about in the post-sale teams, like, oh my God, there's like 10 different ways of onboarding or different ways of deals that there's no defined process. And that's just the recipe for burnout. Or
I see.
customers also confused as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. How in your experience, Emma, how does the communication is managed between, like post sales teams and customers? What the best way, if it is not, let's say, self serve, it is like more of, let's say, customer success led, because during the early stages, right, there are a lot of features which are launched, a lot of changes which happens on the product side. How does the communication, what are some best practices to communicate that to customers and make sure that adoption is high? Can you throw some light on that?
Even the communication side of
Yeah, between,
things.
yeah.
I would say, um, it, I hate to say this, but it really all depends. People
Mhm.
ask me this question: what type of customer success team they should hire? Is a high touch or low touch, or was you can probably hear a digital CS or scale CS, all these CS motion that could confuse people, but it really
Mhm.
goes down to the maturity of the model, like your company is.
Mhm.
Yeah, and what type of GTM motion that you have. For example, if you're a PLG, you're double down on product, in-app service, in-app experience, and you probably have a bigger support team or etc. Use anything, right? And then, but you also have enterprise, which is more on the high touch white glove when you have a dedicated CSM to help you. So I really want to ask, like, what you said, the communication style is just
Mhm.
really based on this. But I know one thing, we do see it is in B2B marketing. Most of the buyer do not want to talk to people. They want to find the answer themselves, right?
Got it. Okay.
So
So
if you
they
have yeah,
okay. So in your experience, you are saying that they don't want to talk to a people. Everything should be on the product, and it should be very self-explanatory, is what the recommendation is.
yeah, I would go back to the customer journey and
Mhm.
see where people are stuck at, right?
Okay. Got it. Got it.
And where people have the most trouble, maybe, um, yeah. For example, you don't want to, you do want to automate things like, oh, I forgot my password, right? You don't really need a CSM for that, but really
Yeah.
need CSM is I call them like the strategic partners or the business and strategists that help you. Okay, I know you want to do this. Here's different ways to help you going to doing this, and what is the immediate wins. I think that's what CS is all about, driving the
Understood.
outcome.
Got it. Got it. Like focus more on the outcome side rather than
Yes.
communication. I think drive
Well,
value rather
yes,
than
driving value. Yes.
value,
It's
customer
about the
value.
value. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, makes sense. Uh, uh, Emma, like one thing which interestingly, while looking at your LinkedIn profile, it came up was uh, you have like a lot of experience in building communities and running customer advisory boards. How do you turn customer feedback into some like really meaningful actions that directly impact retention and upsell? Like personally, I feel that customers are really good sales people, right? So how can you activate your, fractional sales people into more and more opportunities? What is your, you know, like go-to framework, or what are few tactics you can talk about with us?
It's I think customers are, or anybody, if you ask a question, they really want to be heard, and you really like, how do you capture that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And not just only be heard, they want to know if we have act on it and close the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you really want to, there's different ways. What I say, like capture, analyze the theme, and then you want to prioritize, of course, and act on it, and let the customer know, like close the loop, that we have, this is the feedback you gave us. Thank you so much. This is how we're gonna address it in the upcoming something. So they feel valued, validated,
Mm-hmm.
and feel the
Mm-hmm.
pushing forward. I think that's what the power of customer advisory boards or any feedback that is, when you can actually capture what the customer needs. And when you say capture, there's different ways. There is a conversation AI. You can all find that, right? Or there are other. There's so many conversation AIs out there. People use Gone. My personal favorite is Update AI, which is kind of more designed for post sale, and they can have here's a product challenge of this certain time frame in, like, on the larger side, and like you really want to address it as a theme. Second place, so those conversation AI capture from like email, Slack, phone calls, anywhere. They are there. You just have to listen. That's it.
Yeah.
Another place I would say is support tickets. Those customer feedback. What are people are talking about, and that I keep saying, like, support is people say, oh, it's just like closing tickets or being reactive, but there is an on top mind there that people are actually sharing what they're stuck at or suggestions. So it's the voice of customer also come from there, and you can also group by theme of the trends over time. This kind of topic came up a couple times, and use that as a product feedback to to improve your customer experience or product experience and so on, right? Now we keep thinking about what customer advisory board is. These are the hand-selected top partners, right? Champions who are invested in the tools, right? And of course, you this is like direct feedback from your top clients, and this is a time when you bring in your product team, your anybody, like marketing team, to hear the customer stories, the product team to know, to share where the roadmap is and directly hear from the customers and so on, right? And then also I think one thing is not just one-on-one, is also you want to do like a hands-on sessions, a brainstorm session. If you want to do this, where do you wish us to help you? What top 3 thing feature you would like us to do? Like kind of something like that, right? So I would say these are all the opportunity, not just for retention, expansion. Yeah, it's expansions and new features, but it's also addressing like UX frictions and so on. We're all working for the goods of the customer outcome and bringing value to their business, right? That's kind of where I see it.
Got it. Got it. And you talked about, especially in the previous question, you mentioned about a lot of AI, right? Like, which can do a lot of automation and all. And right now, am I right? Like, AI and automation is everywhere, and especially on the customer support, customer success side, there are like lot many tools. Especially, I have come across. How do you think that fits into companies which have high touch CS models? Uh, how does that impact without compromising customer experience? This AI and automation tools.
One other thing is talking a lot is about QBRs. So the quarterly business reviews. When you is it really every 90 days you put the customer in a room, go through 20-50 slides of product roadmap, and then you talk about the things? There are different ways But if you really think about it, it's not a formality of what QBR is really about. It's about what is the outcome and the next step. It's like a check. People use checkpoints. What I heard from Chad, they use checkpoints. They use account planning, like the real meaning, the purpose of what QBR really is. And there are AI out there that if you are, I'm gonna throw out a couple names here. Is for example, I think like those automate. I think it's more meaningful if you can send out, like, let the customer know, have exactly like a dashboard of where they're at and how they're achieving their goals, or have a short video explaining what they have achieved an outcome, right? Instead of and then use that one-on-one meeting time to really discuss and have those strategic conversation instead. So if anything I could want to automate is really definitely the what do you call the checkpoints or account planning, or there's like the success planning where they are, show them where they are, use technology. And this also addressed to the high touch or the scale CS motion, right? Like I mentioned, people they're not sitting in a 30 minutes conversation to go through 20 slides of what's up with the roadmap. They want to know how you're helping me. How am I doing today? How are you going to help me solve my current, like, how you can help me solve my problems, right? Currently, and how I can get better in the future, right? So this is definitely one thing. Another AI that I'm looking out for is replacing the traditional health score. If you, so the health score is, traditionally is, 10%, they have a formula, 10% of fixed product metrics, 30% of a ticket, or 20, like all these percentage. But as we know, it's really based on what, like, the journey there are they a new customer or just getting out of onboarding? Of course, their engagement is high at that point, they're excited, or is it churning or at risk, right? It's a lot of things, and there are so many tools out there that is more machine learning. You train the model. We also look at the market signals. So it's a better way, like really addressing the outcomes. So I'm going to throw a name out there. It's if you look into Reef AI, they're actually doing a revenue outcome based Reef.
What's the name? Reef AI.
Yes.
Reef AI. Okay.
Reef AI. Yeah. So
because, yeah, Emma, like, sorry, did not mean to interrupt, but getting the customer pulse, the traditional model has been, there are like 5 to 7 parameters. Hey, the customer adoption, number of tickets raised, number of feature requests raised, how many times they have engaged, how many times they have logged in. But what you're saying is the health score is old school now. There are new ways to get hold of customers. Can you like double click more on it, because this is something which is very interesting. Like, what all parameters one should look at when getting a pulse of customers?
I solely believe, well, it's segmentation first, right? Based on the use case, they're all different. Based on what they sign up for, right? Maybe this is more for the, maybe they are looking to do, let's say, site performance more. They're only interested in that part of, or they want to solve a bug. This is something different. So the profile of the customer is different on what they sign up for, first of all, right? So
Fair enough.
Segmentation, different. Another thing I was really interested is, it was the market. So for example, when this particular company start hiring increasingly, or they just share, if they're a public company, they probably share they have a loss in earnings. So these are signals, like I would say the market signals, that telling you how well on the business side they're doing, or they launch a new campaign. Like, these are, I always call them signals that I know that you're launching a new product soon, and maybe you see the engagement is more, or because they are unfortunately letting go, or okay, maybe they're being acquired. So what's next going to be happening? That you're going to stay on top of. I think that's what really should health score should be like a pause of what the business is going through and what action you are doing, not just when is the last login.
Got it.
Say that way. And with the AI models out there, the machine, it's just so easy to train a model. Like, here's what good looks like. Here's this use case. Here's a profile or behavior they should be going through and train based on that.
Got it. But don't you think I get the part that we have to look at some signals and external factors and segments, but also how they're using, how they're getting outcomes. Does that also should be taken under consideration while doing that? Was my question was more around that.
Yes. If do you mean capturing the expansion signal?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So I think even that signals also should be considered while coming up with the health score of a particular customer. My question was more around that.
Yeah. I think definitely if you see they have, let's say, they have done. Okay, so what onboarding really means is driving the first value. You're done. Here's a immediate impact, or you see that big shine. You've done it. Did great. You give that instant impact and value. And then you have adoption. You try to train them on other things like, hey, the expansion. I see you have done all this. By the way, I know with the outcome you're driving, here's other ways to drive it, how to export that and train people on that. And then you see they have starting here, okay, they're really happy with the tour, they're using usage. So the over usage, these have become a signal, right? Or they want to invite other teams to explore the function. For example, I'm going to use Noibu, where we focus on developers or e-commerce team, and now we want to bring in the support team. We want to bring in the marketing team because we know that with this can help everybody achieve different function, right? I think like high product usage is one signal, right? And having more logins. And another thing that, because our tool can capture comments, you can see who's been commenting a lot, like maybe that's a signal if what they're going through, like they need to do this more. And most importantly, I would say we're not talking enough is about the customer stories, kind of showing, how people love benchmark. They want to know how well they are compared to other people. That's one way to do it. So if you see somebody like doing really high, very well, right? You can, and you send a report out like, hey, congratulations, you're using all your feature that you're doing this, and you're actually a top 1% or only the 30%. I see the 3 steps you can do more, right? And they want to sign on or join your webinars or something to explore what the other feature they're going for. So that's another signal when they're interested in exploring on the website or your webinars.
Got it. Yeah, Emma, I think we are about time. And, one last question before we drop off. If you could leave one piece of advice for someone building their post-sales motions today, what it would be? Like one simple advice before we drop off for everyone on this call.
I made the biggest mistake of building too many playbooks. And
keep it simple.
And keep it simple. Define your customer journey. Really capture the critical events, ask those questions, and focus on that.
Got it. Makes sense.
Instead of
Understood. I think one big takeaway is keep it simple, focus on customer journey, and have playbooks around it so that you can address them better. Makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Emma. This was a really insightful conversation. Really loved it. Thank you so much for taking our time and talking to us. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm pretty sure that everybody on this call or part of this LinkedIn Live have done the same. Once again, thank you so much for taking our time and talking to us. We'll again connect soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.